Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Cord Cutting TV, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, Oculto, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners. Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook. We have so many things to share today. It's not even funny. It's like I went away and all of a sudden the amount of information that is coming my way has increased. There's a lot of news. We have a lot of events to tell you about. People that have reached out to me and asked for supporting, promoting, and amplifying their messages. So I'm so happy to bring a bunch of interesting stuff to the table today. From information about, well, I'm just going to put it out there. Might as well, instead of telling you what we're going to talk about, we might as well start talking about it. But before we do that, as always, I appreciate so much when you take the time to add a capital letter Q to highlight a comment that is really important for you that we talk about or that we mention. And also, I appreciate it so much when you let us know that you're watching live for the first time and you add a capital letter Q at the beginning of, a capital letter N, as in new, at the beginning of your comment, so we can give you a nice little welcome. And of course, for those of you that are not watching live, that watch us later on in the day through Facebook or YouTube, hello. We love you. We appreciate you as much. I understand that some people cannot join us live, but ultimately, it's great to know that we are all making good connections with each other in whatever the city gives us to enjoy and explore. Let's start with the news as usual. And I start with this very important news item. Puerto Vallarta has had a prominent participation in the launch of the Madrid International Tourism Fair. This is called FITUR. FITUR is this international tourism fair. It's going on right now in Madrid, and it is an important event aimed at the tourism sector and a key global meeting point for professionals in the tourism industry and the largest business platform in the sector. So it's not for regular people like you and I suppose. It's more for people that are invested in promoting destinations. And it's nice to see that our Mayor Munguia, is seen here. Hold on. There is Mayor Munguia looking happy. There is our governor looking happy. They were joined by the Secretary of Tourism of Mexico, Josefina Rodriguez. So we certainly hope that this event will bring a lot of positive visibility, not only to our city, but also to the entire state. SEAPAL has announced a temporary closure on Morelos Street in El Centro, where urgent repairs to the drain pipes are required. So if you are driving through El Centro between today and Saturday, just be mindful of potential delays and detours. According to this news note, city buses will continue to operate their routes through the downtown area as usual. Of course, they will operate through the detours, but it's good to know that bus service through downtown will not be interrupted. This gave me the feels. An actual deer was spotted roaming around the streets of El Cerro, which is above Gringo Gulch. Fortunately, members of the Green Patrol were called and they quickly intervened and captured the young specimen. They estimated that the deer was about 1 year of age. They followed the usual strict security protocols, and then the deer was taken to El Jorullo where he can roam freely away from urban dangers. This is a good reminder of the fact that sometimes in Puerto Vallarta just yesterday I believe it was Paula Pearson who was asking the about whether we saw any interesting animals in our trip this past weekend. And sometimes, Puerto Vallarta can attract curious creatures through our streets. So it's nice to know that nobody was harmed, and certainly that the deer was not harmed. And thanks to Banderas News, we learned that a new mobile app has been announced, which will be helpful to request a yellow taxi from our smartphones. This is not the first app attempt. In fact, I think this might be I'm sorry, I'm reading comments when I should be focusing on my news. I think this might be the third or fourth time since I've lived here in Puerto Vallarta that an app for yellow cabs is announced. We hope that this one is successful. And for more details, you can head over to the show notes after the broadcast. Last but not least, the cold front currently affecting most of our state, including Puerto Vallarta, will continue at least until Sunday, according to the Guadalajara University experts. The lowest temperature registered yesterday, for example, was 15 degrees Celsius, which continues to make my current temperature blanket project rather monochromatic. If you are curious about what a temperature blanket is, just write the word blanket in your comments, and I will be happy to elaborate when we get to the chit chat section. And here is the weather. Let's take a look at what our snarky weather has in store for ourselves. The sun rises, the sun sets. The sun rises, the sun sets. Wouldn't it be more fun if he kept us guessing? I'm not so sure about that. It is 21 degrees right now. Humidity is at 68 degrees. Our weather forecast for today indicates that we are going to have clear skies throughout the day with a high of 25 and a low of 14. Then tomorrow, Friday, we can expect partly cloudy skies throughout the day with a high of 26 and a low of 14. Then Saturday, clear skies throughout the day with a high temperature of 27 and a low temperature of 16. So it continues to be chilly, but fortunately, there are those of us that actually enjoy the chilly weather. I hope you're not taken too much by surprise. Now, moving right along, a bit of commentary. Another foreigner has gone viral, and not in the best way possible, for covering his ears as a banda band was playing live music on the beach in Mazatlan. Needless to say, the anti-gringo comments went unleashed. But I'd like to share my 2 cents on this issue. Ooh. There are such instances as the music is bad, so you might be inclined to go like this. It's not very polite. But then there are instances in which the music is loud, and you go like this, and that makes perfect sense. Of course, when the music is bad and the music is loud, that's just not pleasant. I love good banda music, well performed, well played, but I'll be the first to admit, when we were in San Sebastián del Oeste this past weekend, the banda was so loud during the rodeo that we all left early, and we all felt pain, and it hurt. It hurt. So I don't know why this fine gentleman was covering his ears. I think we have this inclination of assuming that the guy didn't like the music. And of course, locals are bound to get passionate about these things. So there are two sides to these stories. It is traditional in the city of Mazatlan, for ambulant musicians to go playing around the beach. But let's face it, banda instruments, brass instruments, they're loud. They're loud. And even when the banda or the group is really good, If they're playing right next to you because they're hoping to get tips from you, that can be a little bit extreme. My recommendation to anyone in that circumstance, and what we decided to do if we go to San Sebastián del Oeste next year to attend the rodeo again, is wear earplugs. You know, you can just carry them in your pocket, and that solves so many things. And that's the end of my commentary on that issue. Now, I want to share some events that caught my attention. Local entertainer Luis Villanueva continues with his show Love Lockdown. This is produced by our community partner friend Todd Friedman, and it takes place at Nacho Daddy today at 5:30 p.m. The show features hits by popular US artists, and even though it's not specified in the image you see above, the description clearly indicates that he is accompanied by amazing musicians and background vocalists, and I can attest to that because I've seen at least the first half of his show. Then there's this one. The Ceviche en Aguachile Festival is celebrating its 10th anniversary this Sunday at Parque Hidalgo from noon to 8. Fine restaurants from all over the city will be showcasing their own recipes for these popular and traditional dishes. And the event is free to attend. So there you have it. If you want to try great ceviche and aguachile, this is the place to be. Parque Hidalgo this Sunday. It should be fun. And then also on Sunday, Hecho a Mano is presenting their latest pop-up art show from 1 to 7 p.m. at El Patio Restaurant in Colonia Cinco de Diciembre. These are great opportunities to purchase locally made crafts directly from their creators. One more. Guda Gabor, my beloved younger sister from another mister, and this deserves a sound effect. Guda is at it again with another one-night only show titled Leading Ladies. This time around, he will be performing with guest stars Nicholas King and Amy Armstrong, along with musical director David Mayoko. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. This will take place on Monday at 7:30 p.m. at Nacho Daddy. And another one. Hold on. Where is my clicker? Here. Air fryer queen Sharon is at it again with another air fryer class at the Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work. This time around, it's all about Valentine's Day. She's going to endeavor to create a wonderful dinner for Valentine's Day. The class will take place on Saturday, February 8th at 11 a.m. And another class is presented on the following day. I don't know if this is a two-parter or Sharon has become so popular that she is doing two classes in a row. These tend to sell out quickly, so if you're interested in taking advantage of everything you can do with your air fryer, advanced ticket purchase is definitely recommended. And of course, I am doing my own show. Say what? This afternoon, well, it's not a show, it's my music appreciation presentation that takes place at the Joint Boutique Hotel today at 5 p.m. We will focus on music with hidden meanings. We will also focus on the question, are we paying enough attention to the lyrics of the songs we listen to? We will listen to some songs that are very, very popular, but somehow the meaning of the words goes like over our head. And then we will look at instances in which we think the lyrics say something completely different. It should be a lot of fun. And of course, I would like to remind everyone that our friend Stan and community partner for Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback has announced that he will be offering free neurofeedback sessions through the afternoon at the Joint Boutique Hotel for anyone that is present at my presentation. So if you would like to get a feel for what neurofeedback sessions can do for you, this should be a fun opportunity. And what a great synergy. I applaud what Stan is doing, connecting with viewers, taking advantages of the spaces you can rent at the Joint Boutique and Co-work, Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work, to be able to do your own thing. This is absolutely awesome. And now Before we go into our chit chat section, I would like to devote a fair amount of time. Um, no, actually, let me just, before we go into the next section, let me tell you that yesterday's spotlight was absolutely fun. It bordered on chaotic because we had three different guests and everybody arrived with lots of energy. It was such a pleasure to see how popular the spotlight is becoming. I keep getting more and more requests. Yesterday we talked to Shay Byrne. He talked about his new album. We learned all kinds of things about things that we didn't know were happening in Mexico City, where he filmed a music video. Then we talked to Gary Green um, about all the wonderful things that Amapa's Neighborhood Association is doing to benefit the quality of life for those people that live in that neighborhood, but also for the city in general. And last but not least, we talked to the three musketeers, Pamela and her two colleagues who are making homemade jelly and other treats. They installed a little smorgasbord where we were, or buffet, where we were able to try some of the things that they prepare and that they sell at the Thursday market in Marina Vallarta. So I will have clips of all these interviews available for you and a link for you to be able to watch all three interviews within the next couple of days. And now I would like to tell you about this fine gentleman. His name is Sargento Dan. He always seems to be happy. He's a local entertainer from Monterrey, I believe. Sargento Dan reached out to me yesterday asking me to help him promote his shows. So I quickly responded, well, I'm happy to talk about your shows, but if you give me some web links where you, the viewers, can find more information, it would be helpful. And he quickly replied. So I'd like to take a mini dive for a moment. The first event that Sargento Dan is doing is called the Mentiras Experience. And the next presentation will take place on February the 2nd. Now, there are several things that I truly appreciate about this announcement as a consumer. There is a QR code that directs you to ticket information. There is also the announcement that the show features live music. For those of us that don't care all that much about performers who use tracks, this is extremely helpful. But then there's the description of the event, which you might be able to read if you click on the link that I'm going to show you in the show notes. And the description is absolutely awesome. It reads like this: Sargento Dan will guide you through this comedy drama of how these four women were brought together only to discover at his funeral they all have been in love with the same man. The Spanish language hit show you thought you'd never understand with live music. Now, this deserves, I love the way the copy was written, and I appreciate somebody that writes a description for an event that piques your interest. But I think it deserves a little bit of context, and I'm happy to deliver. Let me tell you about Mentiras, the musical. First of all, the word mentiras means lies. And this is a jukebox musical created by Mexican musical theater producer Jose Manuel Lopez Velarde. A jukebox musical, in case you don't know, is a musical that brings together songs that are not original, but they are pieced together through a story that unifies them. So the music is 80s pop music in Spanish, but the plot of the musical is really fascinating. Again, this is about four women that show up at a funeral. They don't know each other, but they were all in love with a man that died. So they appear at this funeral and they learn that they all were in love with the same man who is now dead. So all their relationships were mentiras or lies. Now, what Sargento Dan is doing with his take on the musical is he's playing all four women, and the songs are in Spanish. and he's explaining the musical in English. So this is quite a feat, if you ask me. Have I seen it? No, I haven't. But just the fact that this entertainer went through such extreme to put together a show is interesting. I actually heard one of the songs from the show as a teaser in another performance that I attended at Nacho Daddy, and unfortunately he sang the song with tracks, which again is not my cup of tea. But it's nice to know that he will be performing with live music. How nice it would be, and this is a call or a suggestion to anybody that is performing out there. You know, your live band, um, it's real people, so do them the credit they deserve by announcing their names in the posters, because some of us may have favorite keyboardists out there, or favorite guitar players, or favorite drummers. So it is always nice to know who's playing where. It allows us, as the public, as the audience, to learn more about the local musicians. And I think it's a nice way to give credit to the musicians that are in the shows that we go see. And then there's this second show that Sargento Dan is doing. Sargento Dan has partnered with Gura Gabor to put together a show featuring live music from Glee, the iconic series produced by Ryan Murphy for Fox. This is happening on Mondays during the month of February. There's not much I can tell you about this performance other than the fact that pianist Mark Hartman is involved, and we've talked about Mark's incredible talent in the past, and I totally appreciate the artwork. I mean, just the fact that Gura and Sargento Dan went out of their way to create this funny image gives me a sense that the show might be very entertaining. Once again, I see live music announced and I see a QR code. So again, I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the fact that Sargento Dan would take the time to reach out to me and ask for me to amplify his shows. If Sargento Dan is watching, Sargento Dan, remember that we have a show directly for perfectly for these kinds of situations. That is a spotlight. The spotlight, which happens on Wednesdays, as you know, is a perfect opportunity to toot your own horn and connect directly with the audience so that you can promote your own shindigs. It's free. So hopefully we'll see Sargento Dan in the spotlight at some point in the future. Oh my God. I'm so thirsty this morning and I don't know why. Look at all these wonderful good mornings. Thank you so much. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone. Laura says, good morning, Paco and Luna. Luna, of course, is still chastising me for having been away over the weekend, between the fact that I was gone for a long weekend and the fact that it's cold. She's been sleeping against my arm for the last 2 nights, which I very much adore. How nice to have a pet. Many, many, many good mornings. Thank you for that, Charles. Yes, we announced this earlier. Let's see. Yes, we are loving these brisk mornings when you're not schwitzing, where you're out and about. Buenos dias from 5 de Diciembre. In walking around my neighborhood yesterday, I was amazed by the number of restaurants in the area. Had breakfast at one and dinner at another. The latter had been open for over a year, but was serving dinner for the first time. You know, I don't know if I'm amazed or alarmed at the enormous amount of eateries that are appearing everywhere. I mean, well, no, I cannot say everywhere because I'm not everywhere, but Versalles, it's the same thing. There are so many eateries one has to wonder if 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 there are enough people out there to enjoy these restaurants. So all I can say is that's wonderful. I always love to hear about places where you eat. And for restaurants, if you're new in the scene, come to the spotlight. Let people know that you're there, and we'll take it from there. Uh, oh, now I'm seeing interesting comments about temperature blanket. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about that. Let me mute this for a second so that I don't get distracted. A temperature blanket is a year-long project that you undertake as a crocheter where you keep track of the temperature each day. It could be the lowest temperature, the highest temperature, and or the average temperature, and you use it as a guide. Then you create your own dummy in which you say, okay, if it's from this temperature to this temperature, I'll use a certain color. If it's from this temperature to this temperature, I'll use a different color. So here's my temperature gauge. Okay, very, very casual. And as you can see, there are different colors, and each color is associated with the temperature of a given day. For example, in the cold days, if our temperature is between 17 and or 13, I choose this green yarn. If the temperature is between 19 and 17, I choose this other color. The colors everybody picks or anybody picks according to one's preference. So what am I making with these colors? I am making these. These. This is one little square, and this square represents one day of the year. So the theory of the temperature blankets is that you keep track of the temperature, and if the temperature was whatever, then you go and make one of these. And then, of course, at the end of the year, you go ahead and piece them together, and you end up with a record of the entire year. Of course, most of my squares this year, have been this color, which is my lowest temperature color. But I've had a couple of days in which I've been able to actually do a different color. So this is a temperature blanket. Some people make them in rows. Other people make them in squares. There are many variations to the adventure. That is what a temperature blanket is. I invited my friend Brian to embark in this project. He's doing his own temperature blanket, and I'm making mine. So we are both coaching each other and making sure that we stay on track with our projects. Back to the comments. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Jess is back home and safe and sound, trying to crawl back to work after 3 weeks in Puerto Vallarta. It was great to see you here, and it's always great when you visit. Let's see. Did the article say that perhaps he had hearing aids and could not turn down at the time? Unfortunately, no, Michael. These articles are written in a very sketchy way, and they always focus on the anti-foreigner sentiments, which I can appreciate. But again, there are two sides to that coin. And having been subject to extremely loud banda music over the weekend, I can certainly empathize with the sentiment. Now, do I think it is polite to go like this? Probably not. Probably not. Again, as I suggested, there are earplugs out there. Looking forward to attending the Garden Club annual fiesta at Oscar's this evening. Oh my God, that's today? Oh, how wonderful. Have fun. Have fun. Have fun. Let's see what else we have. Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. Paco's presentation tonight sounds wonderful. Already have my ticket. Yay! I look forward to seeing you there, Betsy. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Spotlight was fantastic yesterday. You are really ramping it up with great guests. Well, I'm just grateful, Laura. I'm just grateful that people out there are looking at the Spotlight as a great way to amplify their messages. I hope we continue to do well. One thing that I will say is that between the guests that we interview in the Spotlight and people that choose to watch it live at the cafe at the Joint Boutique Hotel, The hotel has decided to expand the cafe's hours on Wednesdays when we do the spotlight to accommodate those people that are present and offer refreshments and whatnot for purchase. So this is great news. We're helping the economy. We're helping the cafe thrive. We're helping people that have messages by amplifying them. So it's a feel good thing for me, and I hope it's definitely working for other people as well. Let's see what else we have. A quick hello from Carmen. We have a great Thursday. We are preparing for a busy weekend at Oculto by El Arrayan with catering services, which is a great reminder that not only will Oculto provide private and public dinners, if you want something catered to your own home, Oculto has you covered as well. How was the rodeo in San Sebastian despite the loud music? Asks Laura. It was lackluster. Unfortunately, the first three riders did not handle their bulls very, very, very well. I mean, they were off the bull in a matter of seconds. I will have videos to show once I get around to sorting through all my videos. The intermission was fun with kids and clowns. And actually, my English-speaking friends may not even have noticed that one of the poor bulls, I think it was bull number 3, the rider was maneuvering the bull, and then all of a sudden the bull just sort of stood still and couldn't do anything about anything. And we learned that the rider kicked the bull in the nuts accidentally, and that stunned the bull. So it was okay. You know, we left after intermission. The music was really too loud. But other than that, the culture of the rodeo is fascinating. People dress up. Little children wear traditional sombreros and clothes, and I mean, it's part of the local culture. So it is really fun to watch. Again, I'll dive into details in the next few days. Da da da, ba bum bum. I have to break the news, but understand that you are Luna's pet. Oh, Chris, you are so right. You are so right, and I'm happy to be my daughter's pet because I love my kitty cat, and that's all I have to say about that. I think it's time to wrap it up. I need to put finishing touches on my presentation this afternoon. I'm really excited about that. And of course, I leave you by saying thank you, as always, for everything you do to keep us going with Coffee and Headlines, whether it is contributions and memberships or whether you're spreading the word and subscribing and forwarding what we post. It is much, much, much appreciated. So go out and have a chilly day. Maybe I'll see you this afternoon at my music appreciation presentation. And if not, I will see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day.